But as the cars go around the field, you can already see rain on the lenses. People not quite assessing how much grip, running wide on the corner there. That's car number 76. That's an entry of the Orba course. That's the Japanese crewed car. Mineki Okura should be starting and showing with Hiroshi Hamaguchi. But yeah, humidity 94%. Rain is in the air. But at the far end of the circuit, that's the run from turn 8 back to the end of the lap. Windscreen wipers on some of the cars at least. A little bit of rain on the lens looking down over turn 17, the final corner of this circuit. So the drivers will be hoping their team meteorologist has got a good weather app. They're using slightly different chicane to the one we use for the GT3 cars, slightly earlier turning point for them and then a longer run up to turn 17. This is the corner so vital. A good entry here means a good exit, which means you carry as much speed as possible onto that long start finish straight to the drag, past the pits, down to turn 1. But right now, of course, running at massively abated pace because they're coming round to form up on the grid. 36 cars came out to play yesterday. Had a few moments, but the wind certainly buffeting the flags down on the grid. Guido Lusetti, victor yesterday, going really well all weekend so far for Target Racing. His is the black car with the blue flashes. He is racing solo, so he will certainly have an advantage when it comes to the second half of the race because he'll know precisely what the track conditions are after he makes his mandatory pit stop. Whereas any of the drivers who are the second driver, they have to go out in the first part of the lap just assess how much grip you have. Now, one thing about the Nürburgring circuit is the fact you've got quite a lot of rise and fall. And the highest point of the circuit is this point, the start-finish straight. And even that rises to a crest, then descends down towards turn 1. Lowest point, turn 8 hairpin, and you can have very, very different weather down at that end of the circuit. So drivers have to be conversant with that. Number 76 Lamborghini parking up the Orba course. That was the car that had the little off-track moment. And you can see the degree of drizzle on the windscreen there as the car is pushed back into its grid position. Waiting for Igor Orudzhev, the Artline driver, to come to the very front of the grid. Pole position down on the pit wall side, and alongside he's got Guido Lusetti, car number 10. And here is the metallic blue car. For years, Artline used to run in a metallic green, but blue has been their colour in recent years. And Igor Orudzhev will start the race and hand over to Shota Abkazawa. Car looks actually fantastic in that metallic blue. Seems bright even on what is a dull morning. Hopefully it'll clear. We had quite a lot of sunshine yesterday. Not warm though. Air temperatures have stayed resolutely around about 15 degrees. Eventually yesterday afternoon rose to about 18, and track temperature with this drizzle will be staying down lower than they were yesterday, but even then it didn't rise that high. Felt more like the end of September than the end of August, but down on the grid the drivers will just be focusing on what degree of dampness greets them around the circuit. How wet have those curbs become? Because, you know, if you run wide, as drivers like to do, you go up onto the painted curbs and they don't always have the grip of the tarmac. Stefan Trebudini there, waving away, looking happy with life down in his car. Car number 66 for VSR, Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. Former Formula 3000 champion, knowing his sport very well, but has been running teams with Lamborghinis for seemingly a good decade and more now. White cars, the yellow and blue flashes on them, always at the front end of the grid. Car 57, late second driver announcement for this weekend. Kiko Galbiati, who'll be starting the race, joining Kay Rilets. So look for that alongside the Belgian driver. It's a Belgian team. And again, chopping and changing. It'd be good to have Kiko back in the car. In fact, he's been competing on and off in the championship, the Super Trofeo series, since I think I said yesterday about 2017. So he knows all the circuits, he knows the cars intimately. And what the drivers don't know at the moment is the track conditions. And I'm sure down on the grid. Well, I tell you what, let's go down to the grid and join Dakota, who is with one of the drivers, Hiroshi Hamaguchi.
I have caught up with Hiroshi Hamaguchi on the grid. Hiroshi, it's not really a very nice day. It makes a big change from yesterday, doesn't it? Obviously, you're here just for this weekend. What are you hoping to get out of the weekend?
Well, we came here without testing this car, and we don't usually drive this car, so it's quite difficult for us. But very important thing, we are enjoying the weekend, and the team's great, and the atmosphere here with the series is great, food's great, so here we go.
Now, you've almost driven every Lamborghini out there, road car and race car. What's it been like driving the Super Trofeo and in this fantastic championship we've got in Europe?
Yeah, this is super exciting. I mean, it has a little downforce compared to GT3, but it's still, it's still a proper race car. It can't beat this.
Arigato, Gavate. Good luck. Thank you.
Yeah, Hiroshi's such an enthusiast. If there's a race somewhere in the world, he tends to try and find his way into it. And great to have him, as he said, most of his racing now at the GT3 level, but just coming to enjoy the atmosphere as much as anything. Of course, the drivers now aren't focusing on the quality of the food served by Lamborghini. They're focusing on what they need to do out on the circuit. Enzo Garacci very, very quick in the second half of yesterday's race. Not surprising, though, because he's the championship leader, sharing with Jacob Knopp. But what happens, the driver who starts yesterday's race, the first race, will be starting today's race second, and vice versa. So that's why we've got Enzo Garacci, who made a really good recovery drive up through the field yesterday to finish second overall. The car was about 8th when he took it over. So look out for that one. And his car, Oregon team, it's starting 6th on the grid. It's got the pink nose, the yellow middle, and the green tail. As you can see, wet weather tyres starting to be put on some of the cars. Can't see all of them quite clearly with so many to look at, but certainly lots of teams with their tyre trolleys alongside. They'll leave their decision as late as they possibly can to see if they've got the right one. But let's go down and speak to a South African driver on the grid, because Dakota has caught up with Anthony Pretorius, who's been showing great form in 2025.
Anthony, the rain is starting to fall. This is going to be a huge challenge. I can see that you've got wets on. Do you think that's the right choice with this tile rain?
I think it looks like it. We made the mistake at Paul Ricard. I don't think we want to do it again. So I think we're just going to follow what everyone else is doing and to see for what happens from there.
Shame about the race yesterday, but you had great pace. Do you think that can translate into a race win?
Yeah, I definitely think we have the pace. We just need a bit of, we just need a bit less mistakes, and just for both of us to work together, and I think we'll end up at the front.
This is obviously another iconic racetrack checked off your list. What is it like being here in Germany?
I mean, every racetrack I go to is definitely a pleasure. I think I enjoy every second of it, and just try and make the most of every second.
Thanks very much. Good luck.
Yeah, at the end of yesterday's race, they ended up off the circuit, and their results was scuppered. But they have already experienced victory. That was in the second of the 2 races at Spa-Francorchamps. So, yeah, the theme is very much treaded tyres going on, slick tyres being taken off. Obviously, they have the best assessment as they're standing in the pit lane. But just beware, this circuit has, as I say, great gradient drop, and it may be dry at the far end. Look at the flags up and down the pit lane. You often get a fluky wind there. And what exactly is it like down there? Let's go down to the grid, because the car that's leading the championship, Enzo Garacci and Jacob Knopp.
Joseph, second place yesterday. You looked a little bit disappointed. Is today going to be the day that you can actually make it across the finish line in first place?
Of course, up to the weather will be a bit joker who's gonna win, but we will do everything what we have in our hands to do it, so let's keep it.
Does the rain suit you? Obviously, you haven't done a wet lap yet this weekend.
But on the other hand, for everybody, it's the same. So let's see who's gonna be the fastest one.
Good luck. Thank you.
That's Joseph Knopp there, the driver from Czechia. It's very rare to hear a driver saying, no, I love the rain. A lot of mind games play on down there, but he's actually far more realistic. It's the same for all of us. Some drivers really do love the rain, but a lot just want to be heard to be saying, I love the rain. It's just a bit of mind play down there on the grid. 99, number on the door, that's the car we heard from Anthony Pretorius, his teammate Silas Löwenritter at the wheel of that towards the sharp end of the grid. 7th place overall. But the driver who was the star of yesterday's show, he's racing solo again today. He's yesterday's winner. His name is Guido Lusetti.
Yesterday was a very emotional day for Guido with his first race win in Super Trofeo and first race win ever in motorsport. Are you still very emotional, buzzing from yesterday?
Yeah, of course I am. How could you not be?
Are you ready to race today?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's going to be different, of course, but we'll run with our strategy and hope for the best.
Good luck in Boca al Lupo.
Yeah, Guido was super emotional yesterday. I had no idea it was his first ever win, only his 3rd season of racing. He did single-seaters, he dabbled with Lamborghini last year, but to stand there, any driver who wins, particularly at a circuit like the Nürburgring, is going to be delighted. But he wasn't speechless, but his brain was clearly just overwrought with all that emotion. So fantastic. He's got it's not a monkey on his back, but he's effectively, now I'm a winner, and you just don't know what that does to a driver's or any sports person's sense of optimism, and also they believe so much more once they've got the first win. And he's now a winner. Let's see what he can do today. But he's starting second on the grid. Igor Orudzhev starting pole. That will be a tough nut to crack. He was the driver who won, just squeaked through to take victory in last year's World Finals at Jerez de la Frontera. Third in the overall championship, but came good in that sort of meshing of all the Lamborghini Super Trofeo series from around the planet. They meet at the end of each year, have their final rounds at the given circuit. This year it's Misano, and then they have the next 2 days sorting out the World Finals. It's quite an event. Stefan Guerin, car number 13, starting in 13th position. This was a car that led the first part of yesterday's race in the hands of Georgi Dimitrov. Maybe Dimitrov will make a charge in the second part of today's event. And they were leading Pro-Am and still lead Pro-Am by an enormous margin. So just to reiterate, you have different coloured flashes on the windscreen. The Pro class have orange flash in the top left-hand corner of their windscreen. The Pro-Am have yellow, green for the Am class, and blue for the Lamborghini Cup class. So you can see on the front row, we've got Pro car with the orange flash on the right-hand side of the grid. That's Guido Lusetti. The Pro-Am class car, because though the Pro is at the start of this race, that's Igor Orudzhev. He's sharing with Shota Abgazava, and that makes them a Pro-Am combination. That could be sort of thought about through the course of the race, because all 36 cars will be just looking to see where they are in that rush to the first corner, not just into the first corner, but out as well. And just one little word in the ear of all the drivers, it is damp. They've only had that sighting lap to gauge how damp, and sensing the rain has stopped falling for now. It's only been a light drizzle, but it will definitely be a factor. Good luck to one and all. Last few people just moving away from the grid. The Urus lead car sets away. A fantastic engine note as it rumbles down to the first corner. Then the driver's waiting for the signal. There is the green flag being waved. Igor Orudzhev gets the first part of the job done to set off onto the formation lap. You could even see little dry patches where the cars had been sitting on the grid. As soon as they moved away, they revealed those dry patches. So it shows there has been just a modicum of rain. Down to the first corner, half the field with windscreen wipers on, others deciding to leave them off. It's always a moment. If you leave them off, you may end up without a smeared screen, but as soon as you put them on, you smear. Right, Igor Orudzhev on pole in the Pro-Am class. Guido Lusetti, Pro driver, starts second alongside. Then Kiko Galbiati joining the championship, or returning to the championship, will start third. Stefan Tribudini, top names at the front. Kaya Bergman and Enzo Garacci, who came through to second yesterday. He will start sixth. Sylvan Ritter looking for a good run for him. And Jerzy Spinkovits, he'll race solo. He starts eighth. Ninth place on the grid is one of the rising stars, Patrick Fraoni, and alongside him, ultra-experienced Milos Pavlovic. And Dimitri Angelbert having a really good season for BDR, and Stefan Racina joining the championship yet again. 11th to 12th, Stefan Guerin. That car did lead yesterday's race, so look for that. Pietro Perellini starts alongside in 14th position. 15th, Benedetto Strignano, third place yesterday, best result for him. And Renaud Coppens in the Belgian entered Boutsen VDS car starts 16th. Then Adam Putera from Malaysia, he's right at the sharp end of the championship, so he won't be happy in 17th. And Messina alongside for the Oregon team. And then Pablo Schum for Lippert Motorsport. And Gerhard Watzinger, one of the few retirements from yesterday's race. He'll want to finish this one. Karim Oj took victory in the Lamborghini Cup class yesterday. And a new face, Henri Tuomala. His finished race will start 23rd. Claude-Yves Gosselin alongside him. Then Mineki Okura, teammate of Hamaguchi, and Philip Tang from Hong Kong. And then behind him, Francesco Terzo, and in 28th place, Tsi, another driver from the Far East. Then Holger Hampson, Nigel Bailey, and Hernandez Ortega, and Adalberto Batista, who did very well in his class yesterday. And then right at the back, 33rd car on the grid, so we've lost one, is Rodrigue Guillon, one of the many Belgian racers in this field. So drivers doing what they need to do, moving about on the circuit, trying to get heat on their tyres. Now, the key is the fact there aren't many raindrops on the windscreen as the number 76 car with Hiroshi Hamaguchi Mineki Okura at the wheel rises up through turn 9. Car number 18 will obviously be making a pit lane start. That is the DL Racing car of Chan Chi-chung and Tsi Ka-hing, and it's Tsi who's at the wheel at the moment. So that will be, it was due to start down towards the tail end of the grid, so whatever forced them to start within the pit lane is something to be sorted. And lots of discussion about what the weather may do. The drivers who are going to be doing the second part of this 50-minute race certainly paying attention to every detail they're getting as the field is led round, clearly going for two formation laps in these wet conditions. And certainly the Urus at the front is not hanging around. It wants them to run at a decent pace. The race has started behind the lead car being that big bright orange Urus. Lots of discussion up and down the pit lane. Those drivers from other championships taking a look with Stefano Daste and the PB Racing team. They race in GT4, but they travel the globe together, a lot of these championships, and a lot of friendships made up and down the pit lane, a lot of horse trading in many ways. So for the drivers, a second chance to see and feel the circuit. This is turn 1, which feeds very quickly into turn 2 and then to turn 3 soon after that. And in the opening lap of the race, there are many possible lines, and not all of them come to happy conclusions, but some drivers may gain hand over fist. You can see a little bit of flurry of drizzle at turn 3, just where you want some traction. At turn 3, you have to brake and really slow it down. Turn 4, even more so. You see a lot of drivers dropping to second gear there. Where is the water sitting? In theory, it always sits down on the lowest point of the circuit if it doesn't drain off, and often you see different lines in the wet, but it's not wet enough to require that. Now, number 18 released to join at the back of the field. So the driver of this needs to get a move on. He's not too far off the tail of the field, but he will have one lap less to just understand what the conditions is, to acclimatise himself to the weather conditions, the track conditions, and just... It's a Sunday morning just to get the waking up done. Right, windscreen wipers on intermittent down at turn 8. That's the Urus, the Lamborghini lead car. Everybody else, windscreen wipers off. So this is the lowest point of the circuit, but when they rise up through the Schumacher S's and get up towards turns 11 and 12, you're at a high-ish point. Then you drop down, plunge down into turn 13, then of course the climb all the way up to that vital chicane, turns 14, 15, 16, where so many races come unstuck. Yeah, the last car, that sees car number 18 that exited the pit, seems to be getting quite close to catching the tail of this field, but certainly will have less of a chance to get heat in his tires, less of a chance to experience the conditions on this circuit. For those in the pit lane, there's nothing they can do. They can watch on with enthusiasm, but with their fingers crossed from the sidelines, and certainly Pier Giacomo Randazzo there, such an enthusiastic Italian racer. He'll be watching to see what his teammate can do with Stefan Tribudini starting his VSR car number 66 from 4th on the grid, so very much at the sharp end, very much actually in many ways the further towards the front of the grid you start, the fewer chances you have of being tripped up in that first corner complex, because often the field can concertina when someone does an incident, makes a move, interrupts someone else's progress. Anyhow, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It may all run absolutely smoothly for the Super Trofeo runners this morning here at the Nürburgring. Down to turn 13, it's the fast right-hand kink, but obviously running at a bated pace. We want the cars to get into their 2x2 formation. They'll come up to their chicane. That's quite tricky to do 2x2, but then when they emerge and head up towards the final corner, turn 17, the likes of VSR and the other crews in the pit lanes will have not one set of fingers crossed, but fingers crossed on both hands. These are tricky conditions. I think the rain is probably going to ease away. It's only a light sprinkle, but any little bit of dampness falling from the sky is something that puts just a seed of doubt in the mind of some of the drivers. Had a cracking race yesterday, fully lovely, warm, late summer's day. Today, conditions way cooler. The Urus peels off. Igor Orudzhev in the metallic blue car, pole position. Alongside, we've got Guido Lusetti. Second row, Kiko Galbiati back in the championship, racing for BDR. Fourth on the grid is Tribudini. Bergman 5th. Garacci 6th. Garacci is the championship leader. Car 36. He is on the outside of the track, and maybe, just maybe, that might be the place to be on the opening lap. But if someone gets it wrong, you could be cannoned off into that enormous gravel trap. So, all eyes. Drivers need to look up at the starting gantry. The lights are red. We're waiting. And now, an explosion. Cali Bergman tries to go down the middle. Look at that car with the yellow flashes coming up into, well, the three abreast in the battle for third place. Good start, good enough start from Orudzhev in the lead. Quite extraordinary. Guido Lusetti just couldn't get the braking done. Instead of being second coming out of the first corner, it might be 22nd. He's very lucky indeed. Looks as though he's in a good position. The first two cars, Orudzhev and him, looked absolutely fine going down to the first corner. Just running too deep into the corner, couldn't get the turn done. Grease on the outside of the circuit, and straight on he went. Garacci making his moves, car 36 through turn 4, up alongside Bergman. And Tribudini has fallen down behind the pair of them, and some other cars from probably the tail end of the top 10 starting to make their moves. But Igor Orudzhev well clear at the start of the race, and certainly number 99 has made huge gains with Sylvan Ritter at the wheel, up into second place. The two sometimes get swapped around, but Orudzhev, no such problem. In the pit lane, Shota Akbazar will be going, well done, my lad. Give me the lead when you bring the car into me at about half-time. Driving been very, very sensible thus far. You know, when you start a race with as many cars as this, 34 cars starting the race, you know, things can go wrong. The VSR car number 6 is making its moves there. That's Adam Puter, but demoted a little bit because he was passed on points by Jerzy Spinkovic, the Polish racer, yesterday. Right, end of the first lap. Igor Orudzhev, Sylvan Ritter, 2.5 seconds between them. Pietro Perellini's gone very well to get third. Enzo Garacci up to fourth. Kalle Bergman threatened to go from fifth to second, has ended up back in fifth. And Dimitri Engelbert running in sixth place overall. Kiko Galbiati, you can see ninth. Well, that's a loss of position. He started the race from third. A lot of sorting out. And Stefan Trebudini, you know, he went down to 10th and he started the race from fourth. So that battle for what had been second, third, fourth at the opening corner really sorted out the field. Jerzy Spinkovic going around the outside of Trebudini. Can he make it stick? That's on the blast out of turn 4. You're getting up through the gears. Second, third, fourth. Then you come down the hill to field. Oh, mistake. And I think it was Strignano there. Went wide over the gravels, recovered back onto the circuit. Jerzy Spinkovic in the orange car alongside and losing out. And certainly that was a very, very positive move there from Strignano, car number 15. He went off the track, but then he was good. And then, oh, hip and shoulder there, and off the side of the track goes Milos Pavlovic. Everybody sorting themselves out, but Enzo Garacci picking up another position. Up into second place overall. Third place overall, I beg your pardon. Kalle Bergman fighting back, car number 44. Got ahead of Ritter. Drivers trying to get the right line through that final corner. Turn 17, not going too close to the curbs today. When the curbs have been wet, you don't want to touch them. If you go over the outside, you start to get warnings and then eventually penalties. But Fraoni going around the outside. And unfortunately, a pit visit at this point isn't normal. And that first corner, the outside line, continues to be slippery, and it was Benedetto Strignano who got it wrong. So all the work he did to get up a few positions has just been squandered for him. So that'll be a little bit disappointing for him. Drivers at turn 3 still hooking wheels over the curb. But here is our race leader, Igor Orudzhev. He was 2.5 seconds clear at the end of the first lap, 4.8 seconds clear second lap, but he's got a different driver in second place. You've got Enzo Garacci, then Kalle Bergman in third. Sylvan Ritter's gone down the order a bit to fourth, and Dimitri Engelbert continues to work his way up the field. He is in fifth, ahead of Milos Pavlovic. In the pit lane, though, Kiko Galbiati, who started from third on the grid, he's all gesticulation. He was ninth at the end of the opening lap, and something clearly not quite right for the number 57 car that he'll be showing that he shares with Kai Riertz. Tribudini, he's not going the right way in the order. He's just been passed by teammate Adam Putera, number 6 ahead of 66. They're the white, blue and yellow cars. I must say, having watched Putera racing, he's very, very bold indeed. He's happy to put his car on the outside of others, going around corners where the outside line is the one of diminishing returns, but that's why young Malaysian racer has been so impressive this year, arriving at the Nürburgring in second place overall. Not got his regular teammate this week to make a move. Pietro Perellini is the driver who's now in peril. The car with the pink nose from Oregon team, right behind Adam Putera, and then tucked behind him is Stefan Trebudini. And Jerzy Spinkovic trying to just keep ahead of this battle, but just look out, the driver again seems to be the same. Oh, it's a replay, sorry, I beg your pardon. Various others, and it seems to be BDR competition cars that draw the eye into that corner, and Viorba course ones as well. That Excel Viorba course team, you go in very on the left, and it's just not the grip. The grip is down the inside, and suddenly you can see diminishing returns, and this is number 76 getting it wrong, Maneki Akura. Then all the work you've done to gain a position or two is out of the window. So I think every race engineer should be getting on the radio to their team, saying the drivers saying, do not take the really, really wide line into turn 1. Igor Orudzhev, though, race leader. The leader's actually come down. The start of the last lap, it was 4.8 seconds. Now it's 3.6. So Enzo Garacci, the championship leader, is hauling in. And Kalle Bergman, car number 44 from Leipert Motorsport, is also having a really good run in third place overall. And for Bergman, there's been promise this season, pole position at one point, but his best result on the track is 7th. So the car in third place, it would be fingers crossed for him and teammate Mons Tarlin. starting to sense the track conditions are drying out really all the time. Some of the quickest laps are set by drivers a little further down the order because it's slightly drier by the time they get around to the same point in the circuit. But at the moment, Enzo Guarasci pressing on, 12 minutes into this 50-minute race, trying to see what he can do about the lead of Igor Orudzhev. Kaya Bergman swinging a car around. Sylvain Ritter doing nicely in 4th place. A little bit of a rough ride there from car 74. Dimitri Engelbert, black with the pink flashes. And tucked in behind him is Milos Pavlovic. Been there, seen it, done it in Lamborghinis. Then Jerzy Spinkovic in 7th place overall. Gold car. Pardon, what's happened is Stefan Brasina has been passed by Spinkovic, and now he's got Patera getting onto his tail. And Patera is trying to gut the inside of the red, white and blue Mikonek by Bugira. Entered a Lamborghini Huracan, the Super Trofeo car. So popular, powerful, very, very quick indeed. And Brasina unusually getting a little bit caught out at the chicane, and that gives a chance for him to be passed, as now leading the AM class with that move. Another lap on the board, another lap in which the lead gap has come down. 4.8, 3.6, now 2.8 seconds. Enzo Guarasci is on a charge. The sister cars from his team, Oregon team, there we are, line astern, 61 and 34. Pietro Perolini and Messina, who just tucking in behind. Looking for where the moves might come. Young Patrick Fraoni, car number 9, continues to impress, and he's 16 years old and yet racing cars as powerful as this, but learning hand over fist. Cars are so close, you sort of feel it's lap 1 or lap 2. Look at this run of cars, and the fact that down number 10, Guido Lusetti, is down in 17th place. He started second. He was the winner yesterday, but he made that mistake from second, and when they went down to the first corner, ran straight on at turn 1. It's all about picking off the cars around him. He has the fastest lap of the race. That was set last time around. He's doing that in traffic. So if he can get clear, just look for Lusetti to absolutely fly. One good thing for him is the fact that he will not be, doesn't have a teammate. He'll be able to do the entirety of the race. The black car with the blue flashes on it, that is him. He's gaining another position, makes it look easy. So what went wrong at turn 1? Only he can tell us, but simply, as we've seen since, that outside line into turn 1, you suddenly find a lack of grip where your car should be turning. It isn't. You go on, straight on. Luckily, the gravel trap's some distance back. There's a tarmac area in front. They run around that and continue. Car also went well yesterday, is still struggling a little bit today. Car 13 is not at the sharp end of the field. In fact, Stefan Guerin is some way down from where he'd like to be. The gap's absolutely tiny. I think it is still quite slippery over the curbing. The drivers are largely trying to stay off it, possibly with the exception of Lusetti. In the background, the black car with the blue flash is about to pick off another driver up in front of him. The next target is Pietro Perolini. So it's been a phenomenal recovery drive so far. We've only got 6 laps on the board, and he's gone from somewhere outside the top 20 in the lower bottom third of this field, and he's worked up and continues to advance. He's up to 12th now. When I say 12th, that was 12th when they crossed the start-finish line. He's then since gained another position. He's passed Pietro Perolini by Massimo Ciglia.
Massimo, Peter's doing a fantastic job on track at the moment. Yesterday was a great race for you, finishing in first in AM. Today looks good again. What did you start on, wets or dries?
I think we will change to dry. Conditions are improving, but anyway, it will be a difficult race, especially for me that I don't love this situation. But let's see.
What do you mean you don't love the situation? Like the weather situation or the track situation?
No, the weather situation, when you are not doubt if it's slick or rain. But let's see, today is another day. Let's try to do our best as usual.
Is there any kind of hints you can give us on strategy? Is Peter going to stay out as long as possible, or you're just going to wait and play it out?
Our team manager is deciding everything according to the condition. So I will be ready soon, and then I will do my best as usual.
We'll let you get ready. Bocca al lupo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's always that question mark. Is it wet? Is it dry? Is the weather about to change? Of course it might. It's the Nürburgring. These things come in very, very quickly. Right, the lead battle really is tightening up. 0.4 of a second now, because we've suddenly had Patrick Fraoni starting to make moves, and he's moved up ahead of Enzo Guarasci. Now, does that mean that Fraoni started on slick tyres? Because suddenly as the track's drying out, he's flying and he just passed for the race lead. So Igor Orudzhev, you'd have to presume, is on wet, excuse me, wet weather tyres. In fact, we saw them go into his car on the grid. So this amazing progress from Patrick Fraoni, the 16-year-old. Yeah, I'm going to say it again, 16-year-old, just astonishing. He's mastered the conditions. He had the hard opening laps, and another car on slicks is coming roaring through. Renault Kuppens, number 2, flashing his way past the blue metallic car of erstwhile race leader Igor Orudzhev. So in the blink of about 3 eyes, we have people going forwards and others going sideways and backwards. And unfortunately, number 88, that's Pablo Schum, Swiss racer, has turned it around and can't get going again on the exit of turn 1. So everyone's going to have to abate their pace down there. He's working his way through the process to try and get the Lamborghini Stuttgart entered car going all over again. So frustration for him. Schum had been trying to work his way up the order, and he's unfortunately fallen from 18th position when he crossed the start-finish line to the tail of the field. Kiko Galbiati appears to have retired, by the way, so we're down to 32 cars out on the circuit. But those that started on wet weather, on slick tyres, are really gaining. And you have to presume that maybe Guido Lusetti was one of those. He started second, and maybe that's simply why he couldn't turn into turn 1. The others had a little more grip from their treaded tyres. He went from second down to somewhere in the 20-somethings, and we've watched him work his way up the order. But the driver who's got to the very front is Patrick Fraoni. There he is, car number 9. This is a replay of, well, clearly all on his own. Pablo Schum just not finding the traction he wanted. The large Guido Lusetti didn't want to be on the outside of the track. They wanted to be on the inside, so he's wasted that moment. But has he got enough grip? Yes, he has, to get into turn 2 ahead. That is a clear example in that battle for 4th place of the merits of having slick tyres. Everybody else will be those who said, let's go for it. Their team said, no, you start on rain treaded tyres, and they must be cursing. And others who maybe weren't too sure, but it's absolutely the right choice. Now we're getting cars starting to pit. That looks like Jerzy Spinkovic coming in. The pit window is open. No, it's not Jerzy Spinkovic, that's Gerhard Watzinger racing into the pits and abating his speed at the white line. And he's not the first one in. About half a dozen other cars have come in ahead of him, and clearly any team that ever thinks of sending its drivers out on wet weather tyres has got it wrong. Now, trying to get into the pit lane when another one didn't want to do so. That was a little bit unfortunate. And car 33, that's the car with Milos Pavlovic, wanted to continue, but another car, very tough indeed. Side-by-side contact shouldn't be too bad. And by the way, Fraoni, in the lap that he took the lead, by the end of it, he was best part of 3.5 seconds clear of the best of the rest, who is now Renault Kuppens and Igor Orudzhev. So those on slick tyres are laughing. And the number 9 car, Target Racing, Patrick Fraoni, he's handing over to Giacomo Pedrini for the second half of the race. In the pit lane, yeah, the only tyres being put on offer are those with the slick format. And Fraoni and Pedrini took second in the opening race. The championship was outstanding. They took a 3rd place at Spa-Francorchamps, but if they can win this race, by far their greatest result. Renault Kuppens just making it look easy in 2nd place as well, but falling back behind. And Guido Lusetti side by side. He was very close with Enzo Guarasci. Guarasci's on treaded tyres though, just can't match him. Orudzhev into the pits, and behind him there is Guarasci. The other Oregon car was a slight distraction there. Those that started on slicks will stay out as long as they can. Those that started on wet tyres come in as early as they can, because the right choice of tyre is the slick tyre. And of course, in all the busyness in the pits as more slick tyres go on. That is car 76. That's the Hiroshi Hamaguchi Mineki Okura car, with Hamaguchi-san about to get on board. It's slick rubber all around. And you just have to presume those 3 cars in the first 3 positions. Patrick Fraoni, number 9, number 2 of Renault Kuppens, and Guido Lusetti, car number 10, all started on slicks, and they have found themselves, it took a handful of laps, they have found themselves a massive, massive advantage. So pretty much all but about half a dozen cars have called into the pits this time around. And still the others coming in. But our race leader, Patrick Fraoni, will want to continue. The car looking beautifully balanced. Number 9 entered by Target Racing. Still a few little drops of rain in the air rather than on the surface, and it's looking neat and tidy. This is what he needs to do. Running over the curb, just confident there, just confident. Managed to keep at least 2 wheels on the correct side, on the circuit side of the white line. go all four wheels beyond the white line, and not at all corners, but certain corners you will be pinged for that. You get driver penalties. Enzo Garacci in. You can be sure those are dry tyres being put on that one. Slick tyres ready for him to go out. He was came here as the championship leader, still holds the championship lead. And yesterday was actually disappointed with second place, but it was more points into the championship pot for him. Fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes 3.219 seconds. In the early part of the race, most people were lapping slower than 2 minutes 10, 2 minutes 12. In fact, pretty much 2 minutes 12 was the best time for anybody on rain tyres. And that's, you can imagine, a handful of laps when you're racing on tyres, so that the best part of 10 seconds faster builds you an enormous, enormous margin. Right. Joseph Knott has just got on board. We heard from him on the grid, the number 36 car. He comes out of the pits, does not get in the way of Guido Lusetti. Lusetti, with all that grip from his dry tyres, snakes one way, snakes the other, no problem. Through turn 2, he's got past. There he is, running in third place. He's 9 seconds down on Renault Kuppens, who is now 7 seconds down on Patrick Fraoni. So all of them made the right choice with the tyres, but Patrick Fraoni is the driver who's absolutely delivering at the moment. He's streaking clear. 2 minutes 3, his best lap. And he followed it by a lap of almost identical pace. So that is very, very good from the teenager. He said he came to learn this year, and he's learning super, super fast. So many come through with, you know, having raced karts from the age of 8. They've got the car craft. They just have to learn the vagaries of the various cars and how to handle the conditions. But Fraoni clearly has learned very, very well indeed. Halfway point in the race has just passed. We're into the second half. Another 5 minutes, the pit window being opened, and Fraoni will do this lap and probably one more before he needs to come in. Of course, the team will work out where he'll nip back into the order. And of course, all the cars coming out from the pits now, they'll build up, get the heat into their Hankook rubber, and then once it's there, with the slick tyres, they'll go far faster than they did before their pit stops. But all the time, the driver conversion, but in fact, is actually coming in now. So they obviously decided as close to the halfway point in the race, give both the drivers a chance on the slick rubber, and that means Giacomo Pedrini will be in the pit lane, hopping up and down, waiting to have no fumbles. Is a good lead. As I said, it was 7 seconds at the start of the last lap, and it stretched all the time over Renault Kuppens. So it's probably the best part of a 10-second lead that is coming in, and to go onto a track that they know is drying out all the time is absolutely suitable for slick tyres. So Giacomo Pedrini will take over. That was quite a run from Patrick Fraoni. And you could say he probably wouldn't have been in the lead of the race. Yeah, look at that, really well done. What are the conditions like? Yeah, absolutely fine, mate, hop on board. But if Guido Lusetti hadn't run off at the first corner, having started second, if he'd managed to get his slick tyres to just get enough grip to go round it, Fraoni wouldn't have been coming in from the lead of the race, because Lusetti tumbled down the order. Yesterday's race winner in the dry went outside the top 20, yet worked his way back up to third place by the time it came around to requiring to come in the pits. Hasn't come in as yet, so Lusetti pressing on for another lap, and that means Renault Kuppens is leading the race. He too stayed out on the circuit. Now Jerzy Spinkovic braking super, super late, that orange nose car. He is now on slicks and realising that was the choice he should have had for the first half of the race, and now he's starting to make the very best use of that. So Pedrini on board, Fraoni getting out, no doubt needing to decompress, but maybe when you're 16 you don't need to decompress, you all just think that's normal. That wasn't normal, that was an extraordinarily good drive. Because not only is he learning about the car, he's learning about the circuits, learning about what it's like to race these cars in the rain. Not heavy rain, but it was tricky enough when you're out on slicks. The good thing was not to make any mistakes, and he clearly didn't. Then he started passing people. Then we worked out why. He was on slicks, they were on rain tyres. So car facing backwards, a Viorba course car. And that's down at the first corner, but actually sitting on the circuit, not out beyond the circuit on the tarmac runoff area, but sitting out onto the circuit. Renault Kuppens still hasn't pitted, so he is the current leader. Guido Lusetti hasn't pitted. Now they both come in right as the pit window was about to close. So that was maybe very good timing indeed. In fact, they could possibly almost, not quite, squeeze another lap, which they probably would have wanted to do, but the clock would have counted against them. Then you look like a fool, not like a hero. So this is the moment for Giacomo Pedrini to sort of get a feel for the car. work out what life is like out on the circuit. Guido Lusetti coming in. He'll be still kicking himself. Well, it's quite difficult. It's quite a tight cockpit. Can't do that on board. He's staying on board. He's doing the race in its entirety. But he certainly knows the track conditions. There we are. You can see he's running in the Pro class. Is the car, the number 9, that is leading. Sister car from Target Racing. So they rolled the dice with both Guido Lusetti and Patrick Fraoni. So Target Racing, you take the prize unless something untoward happens. It looks though you have absolutely nailed it in this race by that very, very bold decision. And for a lot of teams, it would have been really, really marginal. Slicks or wet, slicks or wet. They'd have asked the question 1,000 times on the grid, up and down, from 1st to 33rd position on the grid. Now, Renault Coupens had a really good run. Hugo back. Young French driver will be taking over from him. That's the number 2 Boots and VDS car. So that came in from the lead after Patrick Fraoni had called into the pits a lap earlier. Or was it 2? Here's Pedrini. Taken over from Fraoni. Target Racing looking good, waiting for the sister car to be given the get-go. There's Guido Lusetti waiting, waiting, waiting. Behind Hugo back, also waiting to go back onto the circuit. Through into the lead of the race goes the number 9 car. And then the other 2 are going to come out. Will they get out ahead of the best of the rest? I think they will. They ought to. That choice of you know, with the top 3 cars before the pit stops all having got to the front by using slick tyres in the first part of the race, you have to assume they will have used that advantage. They were gaining up to 10 seconds a lap, so it wasn't even a question of splitting a few fractions. But for the best of the rest, it's all about sorting out Antonio Pedrini, getting used to the conditions. They're out on the track, it's slick, but here's a gaggle of, let's offer you just the mere 8 cars fighting with each other, or is it 9? So they're going to have to sort themselves out, but most notably the first few cars will be probably the best part. Well, I'll wait until the end of the lap, but way, way clear. Could be as much as 40 seconds clear, might be actually even slightly more. So, but also just before those pit stops, we had the number 9 car clear by about 9 seconds, maybe slightly more. But the fact is, any car coming in from slicks would be going back out on slicks. Any car coming in on rain tyres would be going back out on slicks, and then have to become accustomed to them. But it was about the weather. Oh dear, we've had a fair bit of contact. Number 70, Vatzinger, didn't finish yesterday's race, and he's off alongside Pablo Schum, who we saw have a little rotation at the first corner as well. So a race full of incident. It's going on the exit of the chicane, turn 16. We've obviously gone out wide across the grass, which of course is a little slick coat of rain. And at least one of them, Schum, continues on his way. So Pedrini now clear in the lead of the race by 14 seconds. Let's say, well, Pablo Schum got the chicane wrong, going in, going out. And Gerhard Vatzinger must have thought, I didn't even see you because you were coming from out of the sun, except there isn't any sun. It's a grey day here. So Vatzinger, innocent party there, but Pablo Schum, a little too much enthusiasm. But, you have to feel for the American racer there. Clearly, he's gone back onto the circuit and thought, no, something clearly is not right after that contact. It was quite hard. Side-by-side contact there with the other car coming back to terra firma. So that would be really, really frustrating for the Leipzig Motorsport racer there, off at the side of the circuit. You'd have to feel that Pablo Schum, car number 88, maybe his car seems to be running okay, which seems a little unfair since he's the one who did the vaulting at the rodeo ride. But here comes car number 9, Giacomo Pedrini, the mere 14 seconds clear. Of course, everyone's progress through the exit of the chicane will be slowed because of a yellow flag there, because Vatzinger's car is still past. But Lusetti up into second place. Hugo Back has taken over from Renault Coupens, but he's 14 seconds down on Lusetti, who in turn is 14 seconds down on Pedrini. So with what, 70 hauling in Pedrini. In fact, I'd expect him to do so, but that's a tidy lead for the first 3. And the next car in line is Jacob Knopp, took over from Enzo Garacci, better the cars that started on wet weather tyres. And that is just 3 seconds down on Hugo Back. So maybe Knopp, championship leader, along with his teammate Enzo Garacci, will be able to gain a place, but I don't think he's going to be able to gain 2. And Shota Abkazaba took over from the original race leader, Igor Orudzhev. We saw Anthony Pretorius get past him, so they're running in 6th and 7th. But the driver in 5th ahead of them is Anthony Nara, sharing with Dimitri Angilbert. They've had a good season, and still others having problems. Car number 7 is, we've had a few rotations. It's not too surprising. That's Karimoje going around. but regaining the circuit. Full course yellow being triggered, other cars off at various points. So going on to slick tyres wasn't the panacea to all ills now, because you can still push too hard. The tyres might be right for the tarmac part, but going out wide over the curbing, that retains the moisture that little bit more, and it does lead to assorted problems and people getting over enthusiastic and running wide. Giacomo Pedrini, car number 9, leading the race. It was 14 seconds at the end of the previous lap. Guido Lusetti will be second in line, and I still quite fancy Lusetti being able to haul it in, but of course they're down at a speed limit under full course yellow, so no one will gain. But if it leads to safety car period, then of course those behind will be able to gain ground. And the number 88 car, there's Pablo Schum, who got airborne. There's the point of contact with Gerhard Watzinger's car, and I would suggest with the door open, are we going to see the driver getting out? I think Pablo, with 15 minutes left, well, he's lost any chance of a decent position, and there may well be further damage to that car. Full course yellow here in the second of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe races at the Nürburgring. Cars running around on the speed limiter, and they have to be absolutely sure they don't transgress on the pace that is dictated they should run. But actually yesterday, Silas Ritter had a bit of a problem when he switched off his full course yellow mode and accidentally hit the ignition button, so he suddenly slowed down, and that led to a problem right at the end of the race. And then as he got down to the first corner, couldn't see Diego Locanto, there was contact, and off they went, and a red flag. But today, be fully conversant with that. Jacob Knopp did move on that last lap just ahead of Ugo back. I thought there's Ugo, car number 2, boots and VDS, but I really sensed that Jacob was on the move. In fact, his next target is Guido Lusetti, but I think once we go back up to full speed, I expect Guido to pull clear. I could be wrong. Just remember, the gap to Giacomo Pedrini was around 14 seconds, first to second, back to Guido Lusetti. So maybe Patrick Fraoni in the pit lane. But I suppose with every lap they're running behind under full course yellow, it means that the gap cannot come down. So Pedrini is counting off the laps while various cars are being cleared up, and hopefully we'll get going back full green flag racing very soon indeed. But it could be a famous win coming the way of one of the target racing drivers. Will it be car number 9, which is Giacomo Pedrini and Patrick Fraoni, or will it be Guido Lusetti coming through to make it 2 wins in 2 days here at the Nürburgring? Leading the AM class, Massimo Cilia, we heard from him overall, but leading the AM class. What do you do if your car is broken? It's quite tiring work. Go and take a sit down. Just see the driver's leg, right-hand side of the screen. That's Gerhard Watzinger. He must be thinking also, I never saw that car coming because I wasn't looking into outer space, because the car that clouted him, Pablo Schum, got airborne between parts 1 and parts 2 of the second chicane and came down and just thumped into the American driver's car. So really frustrating. And also yesterday he ended up out of the race as well through no fault of his own. Well, let's go down to the pit lane while it's relatively quiet and hear from Dakota with a gaggle of drivers.
This is a different kind of interview because I've actually caught up with 2 rival drivers here. Peter, going to start with you. You're running first in AM at the moment in the 61. Your teammate was pretty confident going in. You changed the slicks now, I guess.
Yes, I think that I did the start of my life. So we started P14, and then after the first corner I was P3 overall. So it was very also complicated to manage the situation with all the pros behind. Then obviously they passed, but I had the possibility to keep the position with a very good fight with Stefan, that is always one of the fastest drivers on the grid. We are fighting for the championship and for the race, so we are also friends, so it's nice to be here.
It's really odd to see drivers who are fighting for 1 and 2 in AM next to each other having a conversation. What were you guys talking about?
For sure about the start, because it was the tricky condition. I was P4, so with a lot of pro, and it's always difficult because we are not a lot of car in AM category. We are leading the championship, so my main goal was to finish the race without contact. So it's why we choose the wet tire to be secure. And also I take strictly no risk on the first laps because it was really fighting with all the pro car, so I take no risk. It was difficult to have the tire at a good temperature also. And I was surprised to see Piero in front of me. and I really didn't see him passing, but I think it was a first or second corner where it was quite a mess. But I'm happy. I give the car P2 to Piero just on the back of the P1. So now they are fighting with the slick, and we are expecting to.
Under 11 minutes remaining in this race. Pietro, we're looking at Pedrini leading the way. Giacomo Pedrini sharing with Patrick Fraoni. Such a young driver lineup. This could be a famous result for them. But the chase is on. Guido Lusetti is in second place, but it's Joseph Knopp who's now moved up to third ahead of Hugo back. There's Hugo in fourth place, leading the his particular class. But it's all three pro crews at the top of the field. Giacomo Pedrini trying to stretch his legs. Third first part of the race in the number 9 car. And really just soon let them come up to temperature, find the grip as the track dried out. That's precisely what he did. Car number 2 there, fourth place overall. Hugo back now. Going very, very nicely in the Pro-Am class. Started this event down in fourth place overall, showing with Renault Coupons, but they should grab some very useful points towards their championship tally. Final rounds of the championship, Barcelona, 11th and 12th of October, before, the penultimate round, the final round when they go to Misano. They have 2 days, the Thursday and Friday, the final rounds of the European Series, and then Saturday and Sunday is the World Finals. So plenty to play for, but a lot of confidence coming for the crew that are leading. Giacomo Pedrini and his teammate Patrick Fraoni, who'll be in the pit lane, feeling this next 10 minutes, in fact down to 7 minutes, is going to be very, very long indeed. Yes, the gap comes down, 10.3 seconds now with every sector, so they're going to be watching every lap absolutely crucially, but it's down to not making a mistake for Giacomo Pedrini. And here's the chaser, Jacob Knopp. But let's go back down to the pit lane for another interview with Dakota in the closing laps. The pressure is absolutely mounting. And you can imagine there are plenty of nervous moments down there in the pit lane. So let's go to Dakota.
It feels like deja vu from yesterday. Guido is really fast in front of you, but there are a few...
Catch Guido, like he's 20 seconds in front of us, and there is not a lot of time remaining. So except if there is a safety car, I'm not sure we will be able to catch him.
6 minutes to go. Anything is possible, right?
Yeah, anything is possible.
Good luck. Let's see how you go. Thanks.
Thank you, Dakota. That's with Enzo Garacci. He's the championship leader. His teammate is driving their number 36 car for the Oregon team. There it is. That's Jacob Knopp pressing on. But yeah, 20 seconds. He's not going to claw back. Fastest driver on the track is the one he's chasing, so the gap's going out all the time. Giacomo Pedrini leads, but the gap with the last timing sector was 10.3 seconds. No, 7.9 seconds. What's it going to be when Lusetti, there comes in the background of the shot, the black car with the blue flashes across the nose. That's going to come down and down. 7.5 seconds. But another thing that's coming down is the clock, 5.3 seconds. So we've got 3 more laps by my very, very basic maths down to the first corner. Can Lusetti make it 2 wins from 2? Well, big question. Don't know what the answer is as yet. We'll have to wait and see, but he's certainly having a fantastic weekend. But really, in terms of the fairy tale result, it will be if the sister car of Giacomo Pedrini and 16-year-old Patrick Fraoni can hang on to take victory. I mean, a podium would be fantastic. They did get a podium this first race of the year at Paul Ricard, a second place. But if they can turn that into a win, that will be absolutely huge. Hugo back, powering down the track in... nice, neat order there for Boots and VDS. And he's running in the Pro-Am class, leading the Pro-Am class. Next car in class is Anthony Nara. Third car in class, Shota Abgazawa. And they, respectively, are in 6th and 8th positions. And there goes Anthony Nara. Running in the livery, one of the many liveries of BDR competition. They do have some very fancy race liveries, sometimes running gold, sometimes running other colours, but... certainly whoever they've got doing their graphics does a very, very good job indeed. But he is being hunted down. Riccardo Iannelio sharing that number 6 VSR car with Adam Putera, who really rose up the order in the opening part of the race. The Malaysian very, very positive indeed. And Adam came here, having shared thus far in the season with Paul Levette. Second. We're getting very close to a lap. Under 2 minutes. Best lap so far was the last time around for Guido Lusetti. The battling down the order is where the real fight is. Shota Abgazawa being pushed, harried, and everything in between. But Iannelio is fighting with him, and then coming up behind is Benedetto Strignano. Car number 15 was such a star yesterday, and he is the one starting to look for the gap. And then in behind him, you've got Stefan Guerin, the number 13 in black, Oh, this could get a bit interesting as they go up the hill into the chicane. Down into the compression at turn 13 and over the curves. Oh, I was worried there was going to be contact. That would have been a big, big moment had they done. Side by side there is bold, but you can't go side by side into the chicane without someone coming out with a nosebleed. Guerin's not prepared to back off and compromise the pair of them. So Shota Agbazawa will say, thank you very much for that. You've brought me a bit of breathing space. And tucked in behind watching that was Gustav Wisniewski, who may have gained, possibly could have had a couple of positions gifted to him. But the gap at the front of the field is one we need to look at. 6.2 seconds coming down all the time, but I think Giacomo Pedrini is doing enough. We've got this lap and we've got the next one. He's not, it seems as though things are looking very, very good. Target Racing first and second. The big question is, in what order will they finish? It's down to 4.4 seconds, so the start of the lap. Lusetti has been flying through that first timing sector. In fact, through this first timing sector, he took 1.7 seconds. Oh, doing this. Oh, now, what he didn't want was an incident. We've got a couple of cars making that turn 16, 17 combination. Very tricky indeed. One gets going, but the other is on the track, facing in the wrong direction. It's Karim Oje, one of the Oregon team cars, gets past him. He's had to wait, had to look at the signals from the marshals as to when he could rejoin. He chose his moment very nicely and got through that corner, slightly 11th, and the driver at the back of that little grouping in car 13 is Stefan Guerin, desperate to get past Benedetto Strignano, but they did compromise themselves at the chicane last time around. But here is our race leader. We're on to the final lap. That would be good news to him. His lead is down to not a lot, but surely it's enough for Giacomo Pedrini. Second place, as I said, in the opening race of the series at Paul Ricard, and since then their best result has been third in the first of two races at Spa-Francorchamps. But podium is fantastic for these young drivers. But if it's a win, to do it by mastering the conditions that were certainly very, very tricky as the cars formed on the grid, as they went on their formation lap. The race started behind the lead car, then the field was released, and then those that started on slick tyres, including this car, discovered there was really not a lot of grip, but they had to be cautious, had to be safe around the first handful of laps, and then suddenly they were rewarded for their very bold roll of the dice, and definitely the slick tyres were the ones to have. And looking in his mirrors, don't think he can even see far enough back to see Lusetti because other cars are between them, but I don't think it's going to compromise him. Halfway around the lap he's going out of the Schumacher S, he's up to turns 11, which is the left-hander, then you go through the right-hander, turn 12, and then the track drops into that compression. The car chasing is the black one with the blue band on its nose, but I think Guido Lusetti realises to try and pass the two cars in front of him, it's going to make it too difficult for him to home in on the race leader. And now coming out of the compression up to the chicane for the final time is Giacomo Pedrini. His teammate Patrick Fraoni now probably uncross his fingers because Pedrini ain't going to be making a mistake in this final run to the last corner of the final lap of the race. And for Target Racing it should be a 1-2 finish, but for Patrick Fraoni and Giacomo Pedrini this is dream time. The checkered flag is unfurled for them, waved in their course, flashing past the pit wall. In the background the sister car Guido Lusetti, well, he didn't manage to get past those others, but it wasn't worth the risk. So first and second for the team, and third place about 20+ seconds back will be this driver Jacob Knopp. Came here as the championship leader with his teammate Enzo Garacci, and they continue to stretch that advantage. So well done to them. It's in a field of 30+ cars, so make sure no incidents befall you, and if they do, you have to just fight your way back. That's a good run. We'll wait for the leader in the Pro-Am class. It should be Ugo Back coming into fourth place for Boots and VDS, and he does the job there, sharing with Renault Coupens. Next one across the line was Anthony Pretorius in the blue car. And then Janello in 6th place overall, car number 6. But what I can tell you is Anthony Nara will come through to 2nd place in the Pro-Am class. Shota Agbazawa not too far behind, 3rd in class. And looking for the victor in the AM class, it should be Massimo Cilia, car number 61. Just waiting for him to come to the finish and get the job done. So happiness for him there. 2nd in class should be Paolo Bieri, and then Hiroshi Hamaguchi if it all goes to plan. So a few spills and thrills in that race, but really remarkable run to victory from the young combination of Patrick Fraoni and Giacomo Pedrini for Target Racing. Brilliant job done by them. And just looking down the order, Karim Moje had a race of Vincent, but he came through and got past Philip Tang right at the end to take victory in the Lamborghini Cup class. But the race belonged to the bold decision by Target Racing to put a couple of its cars near the front of the grid on slick tyres at the start of the race. And Patrick Fraoni, just 16, did nothing wrong and everything right. Didn't fall for the sort of fool's errand of going too fast too soon, pressing on when the rivals on rain tyres, on treaded tyres, had the performance. Bided his time, kept out of trouble, worked his way very fiercely towards the front of the field, and then handed over to Giacomo Pedrini, who's done the rest. Guido Lusetti would be kicking himself too. He started second, also on slicks. He's the sister car for Target Racing, but he got it wrong at the first corner on the opening lap and fell down below 20th position. Then he fought his way back, kept his patience, kept his cool, and came through to second place. He was closing in the final few laps of the race, but never quite close enough to topple Giacomo Pedrini. So Pedrini coming in now, he doesn't mind coming in slowly. He's not racing in for a pit stop. He's racing into glory. Guido, first ever win in any car race yesterday, second place today. He could have done the double, but I think he's going to be delighted. He's really put his name up in lights this weekend. So yesterday he was just beside himself with his first ever car victory, not just his Lamborghini victory, his first ever car victory, and he's underlined the talent that he clearly has. So, you know, we're looking at a star, not of the future, a star of the present, but maybe the star of the future with Patrick Fraoni, along with Giacomo Pedrini, his teammates who took victory. And Pedrini clearly so emotional as he comes in that he's just taking his time to come and park in front of that #1 board for the winning combination. And there, Jacob Knopp out, came here as a championship leader with teammate Enzo Garacci. They were a bit disappointed with second yesterday, but a second and third, it's just more points to put into the pot. As I say, Barcelona is the next one. And then we will go to the finale at Misano. So here's Enzo Garacci. Yeah, they're sort of, yeah, third place. But no. It's a solid achievement. That's what you need to do to start winning championships. So still waiting for the race winning #9 Target Racing. Huracan Lamborghini Super Trofeo continues to provide great entertainment. Here are the results. 4.6 seconds with Lusetti backing off on that final lap. Traffic in his way, but Patrick Fraoni, bold decision to start on slicks. Giacomo Pedrini pulled it through to take victory. Clear of their teammate Guido Lusetti, he did it all on his own. And then championship leaders Enzo Garacci and Jacob Knopp, third place for them. Winners in the Pro-Am class, Renaud Kuppens and Ugo Vac also benefiting from starting on slick tyres. Anthony Pretorius and Sylvan Ritter, good job for them. 5th place, 6th place to Ricardo Ianiello and Adam Putera, such a star, the Malaysian driver, coming 6th overall. Jerzy Spinkovic 7th, and Shota Abkazava, another good run from him. But let's go down to the paddock and hear from our second pace crew, Giacomo Lusetti, first ever win yesterday, and he's backed it up with second today.
Guido, a mega weekend for you. I mean, this must be the best racing weekend of your life. How are you feeling about it?
It is the best racing weekend of my life. Congrats to the guys, of course, to the car 9. Of course, they did a really good job. Now I'm going to congratulate them. But yeah, the mistake at the start was quite big. I tried to be careful on the brakes, but that wasn't enough. So lost many positions, but it was probably the most fun I've ever had in a race with that many overtakes. So there's that. Yeah, it was a very good race. I will remember it.
I'm sure, and it was enough to put you on P2. Congratulations. Go and shout your congratulations to the winners.
So the winning crew have finally arrived in the Parc Fermé area, but lovely words there from Guido Lusetti and Dakota diving straight in to catch the winning interview. Let's go down and hear from Giacomo Pedrini.
Patrick, 16 years old, winning Super Trofeo race. It must be a dream come true for you. You guys had a great strategy.
Yeah, the team have a great strategy. We are very happy because the weather at the start was not smiling. And so we had a not bad start. Not good, but not bad. But we come back, so we're very happy.
What did you think when you saw Guido go off in turn 1?
I was very happy. And no, but he's a good driver anyway.
Congratulations, Giacomo. You take your helmet off now and breathe a little bit. Fantastic race for you guys. You feeling happy?
Yeah, I'm so happy. Also, the weather was not easy, but Patrick, my teammate, made a great job, and we win.
There you go. Your team had your back. Your teammate had your back. Congratulations, guys.
Well, there we go. What a historic win for the pair of them. But that was hard work, and it was about not making mistakes. Conditions very, very tricky, but with about 3 or 4 laps in the race, that decision to start on slick tyres suddenly seemed an inspired one. You have to hope another flurry of rain doesn't come through. One came through just before the start of the race, but Patrick Fraoni probably, you know, when he stands back and thinks about it, is maybe he's just the sanguine attitude of a 16-year-old. Yeah, you think that's how it is, but I tell you what, in the fullness of time, it really came his way. But I tell you what, let's take a look back at the highlights of the race. Certainly incident from the start right through to the finish. And Orudzhev on pole position. Seemed even Stevens on the run down to the first corner of the outside. Look at the driver of the black car with the blue flashes. That's what happens when you start on slicks. That's Guido Lusetti going, oh, we've got the wrong decision. Worse than that, I'm off the track. He rejoined in about 20th place. Orudzhev managed to tuck back into the lead. Brilliant start from Sylvan Ritter. Silas Ritter got up into second place. Those behind, you wondered why some cars were going backwards, and eventually you worked out they were the ones starting on slick tyres. Not many did, but it was something that was really, really going to pay off. And you saw those that fell down the order starting to make an advance, and it really worked very nicely for them. Enzo Garacci pushing on very hard, championship leader. He was starting to make progress up the order. There'd been a bit of a sort out on the opening couple of laps, but the real sort out came later on as those on slicks started to make their progress, gaining places hand over fist. Not wanting to make mistakes, though. Then Igor Orudzhev had no answer there. He's on wet weather tyres, doesn't have the grip, but the driver, Patrick Fraoni, 16 years old, around the outside, through turn 2 and off into the distance. Target Racing looking very clever indeed. And then for everybody else, when it came around to their pit stops, it was time to stick on the slick rubber. Didn't work for everyone. Then there was an airborne moment, unfortunately, for Pablo Schurman. Gerhard Watzinger, nothing to do with him. He was flicked off the circuit there to the outside. 2 days running for him at that point on the circuit. Karim Oj went on to win his class, but he was spun around at one point, had a further spin himself. Next to the chicane was providing plenty of incident, but really, once we got the second driver, Giacomo Pedrini, into that number 9 Target Racing car, victory was theirs. And here is the checkered flag for him and teammate Patrick Fraoni. In the background, Guido Lusetti had to accept he wasn't going to make it 2 wins from 2, but second place, putting lots of points into his pot. So there's confirmation of the championship. Garacci and Knopp came here with the championship lead, and they leave with the championship lead. Still very tidy, but Guido Lusetti's come rocketing up the order. First and second move him to second place in the title. And for Fraoni and Pedrini, they're up to third in the overall battle. Adam Patera falls back from second to fourth, but still in that championship hunt, with Jerzy Spinkovic not too far behind in 5th place overall. Also making progress was Silas Ritter and Andrew Pretorius, and they're not out of the title battle as yet in Leipert Motorsport in 6th overall. So good, constant run. 2nd and 3rd place for our championship leaders just keeps them at the top of the pile. They came here with a 12-point lead. They leave with a 14-point lead. Races still to come in Barcelona and then Misano. Inspired decision by Target Racing really paid off enormously. As we said, Lusetti started in the championship in 6th place here this weekend, and he's now up into 2nd. Enzo Garacci up onto the podium, car 36, and Joseph Knopp 2nd place, smiling still from yesterday. 2nd place today to follow victory yesterday, his first ever win, Guido Lusetti, but onto the top step, Patrick Fraoni, just 16 years old, and Giacomo Pedrini. Fantastic job from the pair of them. So the national anthem rings out for Target Racing, the winning team on home ground. Every one of the trophies being awarded today was hard-earned, because those conditions are really very, very tricky indeed. Target Racing got it absolutely spot on with the tactics. Italian crew absolutely nailing it, and Italian drivers absolutely nailing it. Giacomo Pedrini and Patrick Fraoni up on the top step of the podium. To get it right with one car in these conditions is very good, and I tell you what, it was a bold decision from Target Racing to put both of their front-running cars onto slicks at the start of the race. They didn't split their strategy, they nailed their colours to the mast, and their drivers absolutely rewarded them. So cheers all round. I think they can probably afford to get going with the fizz. Stay for the photograph or get a face full of champagne. The team representatives decide, get clear. All those drivers, a fantastic job, and beneficiaries of some great driving from the championship leaders, but those that went on the slick tyres were the real beneficiaries there. Target Racing got it right today. In fact, they enjoyed it so much they really don't want to leave the podium, but of course it's a four-class championship, so we should have Pro-Am and Am podiums and Lamborghini Cup podiums to follow. But for Garacci and Knopp, sort of down in the shoulder, but a second and a third over the course this weekend, very, very useful, slightly extending their championship lead. But for Target Racing, wet tyres or slicks? Let's go for slicks, and boy did it work. Slow progress on the opening laps to be expected, but their 16-year-old Patrick Fraoni just kept it really, really neat and tidy, bided his time, waited until the tyres came good, and came away with victory. In the Pro-Am class, car number 13 came home. That's Georgi Dimitrov and Stefan Guerin. Third place in class for them today. Second place, the number 12 entry, Artline, Shota Abkazava and Igor Orudzhev. And then heading to the top step of the podium, the Boots and VDS combination of Renault Kuppens and Ugo Bach. And they're very happy with Renault leading out and Ugo following. Yeah, smiles all round. Fourth overall in the race, top in the Pro-Am class for them. So Renault Kuppens looking delighted. His national anthem, the Belgian national anthem, ringing out for Boots and VDS. They took class victory in Pro-Am yesterday, and they've followed it up today. Yesterday they were 11th, and today, thanks to their choice of starting on slick rubber, they came home 4th overall in winning that Pro-Am class.